Okay, we are down to members of council's reports, and I will start with the volunteer.
I'll start. I've got no report tonight, Your Worship.
Councilor Doherty fills the spot. Councilor Wyeth.
Oh, for one.
Okay.
Because I have a lengthy one.
All right.
I've had a busy time. So I begin my report this evening with May the 9th. I attended the regular monthly meeting for the Boundary Dog Sled Associations. And the dates for the 2013 event will be January 25th to the 27th, 2013, with the 200-mile race course being tweaked after recommendations came forward from the former participants. So our mountainous terrain lends challenges, especially to the latter part of the course for the from Fiva to Greenwood area, where the dog teams are climbing repeatedly to reach the finish line and are already tired at this point. So other major competitions such as the Yukon Quest take place on flat frozen riverbeds. So they are tweaking the course as we speak, so there'll be a new finish line to be announced in the future. And so we have our official dates for the third annual dog sled race. On May the 10th, the Boundary Restorative Justice Program's regular meeting was held at Selkirk College. The organization announced receiving funding from the Phoenix Foundation and the Regional District Kootenay Boundary Area C and D directors to finalize the financial commitment to host a 3-day training session from July the 13th to the 15th, and also a 3-day mentoring session from July the 16th to the 18th. These will be held at the Slavonic Center. It is a free training session and open to volunteers interested in the program that helps repair harm caused by conflict and illegal actions using a format valuing and respecting all participants. The cases are referred to the program from the RCMP and follow the Healing Circle concept. 11 registered participants have registered to date, and the contact for this community session is Richard at 442-8633, and you will also see it publicized in the local newspapers. May the 10th, I attended the Concerned Citizens for Gilpin Grasslands, where the group is lobbying the provincial government for better wildlife management practices and grazing tenures revamped to address the ongoing detrimental use of this sensitive grassland ecosystem in the provincial park. Members seeking community support in their efforts to improve the use of this region are circulating a petition at this time. And for your information, the City of Grand Forks holds a water license on Overton Creek that flows through the Gilpin Grasslands. Yes, it's all about the taste in neighboring Greenwood. And congratulations were extended on May the 11th to the City of Greenwood for their 2012 Berkeley Springs International Best Drinking Water in the World, the Gold Award. So they bottled it, and they're selling it on the streets of Greenwood. $3 a bottle. Plus, they have the little carry-on takeaway decanters that they're selling as well. Greenwood hosted federal and provincial dignitaries, regional, local governments, and many citizens to a delightful luncheon at the overflowing MacArthur Centre, when Mayor Nipper Kettle received the award from Jill Klein-Ron from Berkeley Springs International out of Colorado. They are bottling, shipping, and selling their tap water. There's gold flowing from the Greenwood water taps. So there's the Greenwood gold. And well done, Greenwood. Alex of Canada, local branch 493, held an open house on May the 12th, celebrating 100 years of community service through fundraising. Primarily, they assist children with speech and hearing impediments. So we look forward to seeing the Elks Pancake Breakfast at many events throughout the year, including Mother's Day that just passed, Canada Day coming up, our annual Fall Fair, and the local Airport Appreciation and Awareness Day that's planned for the Grand Forks by the Grand Forks Pilots Association for Sunday on August the 26th. So watch for our local branch 493 Elks, August the 26th, Councillor Doherty. On May the 15th, City Council invited the public to a special meeting with the city's auditor to hear the 2011 auditor's financial report. And BC mayors met in Penticton on May the 16th for a 3-day caucus. And I'm interested to hear in your report, Your Worship, on a follow-up. I just wanted to mention that. Seeing that, we have so many provincial common ground issues in our local government, the downloading that we're seeing from the federal government to the provincial government to the local government, where even our city staff in City Hall are taxed for time and overload. So I'm anxious to hear what resolve came out of that caucus. On May 23rd, the Interior Health Delegation, including IH Board Chair Norman Embry and Interior Health President and Chief Executive Officer Dr. Robert Halpenny, visited Grand Forks to discuss and bring forward the actual roles of what community plays, the Regional Health Board, and IHA on the provision of our health services throughout the region. They were met by the Concerned Citizens for Community Health Care to answer 13 specific questions that have seriously impacted our region. The hospital boardroom held approximately 40 local citizens who voiced a number of health delivery concerns. The good news is Boundary Hospital will see the construction of a helipad thanks to the generous donation from the Clifton family, honoring the memory of Gordon and Jean Clifton, longtime residents of Grand Forks and Christina Lake. BC Ambulance Services, the emergency helicopter based in Kamloops, services the southern interior, and it will use the Boundary Hospital heliport. Interior Health is issuing a request for proposals for the planning and design of this project, and is expected to start later this year and be completed in the spring of 2013. Finally, or moving on, the Grand Forks Environment Committee, a committee of council, received Canada Summer Student Program funding to hire a returning post-secondary student for this summer to conduct nephelometer testing in the city. So, for those who do not know what a nephelometer is, it can either be a portable or stationary device instrument that measures suspended particulates in the air, primarily down to the finer ones, 2.5. This project was initiated as one of the recommendations from the Environment Committee when they concluded in October 2011 before the election. So I'm happy to say that a student has been hired, a local student, and the successful candidate is Jordan Andrews of Grand Forks. Jordan will be traveling to the University of Victoria next week to receive training on operating the nephelometer. And upon his return, he will be conducting testing throughout the summer, as well as training Environment Committee volunteers and city staff on how to use the instrument, because the university has lent us this instrument until the spring of 2013. So I feel very strongly and that it's going to provide, it's going to be very beneficial in determining where airborne particulates are coming from, like our road dust, and in the wintertime, wood stoves, outdoor burning incidences that we have, and the levels that we are seeing within our community. So I joined Mayor Taylor briefly to welcome Pearly Elementary students who were touring City Hall on May 24th. And that was quite interesting to see your mock trial proceeding on deer.
They wanted to talk, they brought that up.
They did, and I was impressed with the delegation that sat there looking for answers. So more recently on Saturday, NDP leader Adrian Dix visited Grand Forks in support of NDP Boundary Snowmobile candidate Margie Basso and her Get Motivated campaign. The meet and greet was held at Gyra Park, and of course we were gifted to have Katrine Conroy here, and MP Alex Adamanenko were also in attendance. So I stopped by at Gyro Park, and I saw your worship there, and we had an opportunity to meet and greet with the candidate for the upcoming election in 2013. The Rick Hansen relay that was here April the 26th, I received a thank you today from the coordinator, Max Boykin, who's originally a Castlegar boy. And he just wanted to thank Grand Forks and the staff at the Grand Forks Rec Center, Lily and Kim, for taking on the project and enabling them to recognize Jock Mackay and one of our local medal bearers who participated. And I'll just skim down here a bit more. Finally, I have one announcement to make, and that's for the Boundary Emergency Transition Housing Society, BEST, that everyone is welcome to attend their AGM on May the 30th at Selkirk College at 7 p.m. So I recommend community support for our local emergency shelter that was started a couple of years ago. And that's my report.
Thank you very much. Councillor Wershagen.
No.
Thought I'd clean up that side of the table.
I have a couple of things here. I just have to pull this up here. First off, I attended the USCC Union of Youth Festival this past May long weekend in Castlegar on behalf of the City of Grand Forks. I was attending as a dignitary on behalf of the city, along with Mayor Lawrence Chernoff of Castlegar, Alex Adamanenko, the MP for the area, and Angus Brown, the president of Selkirk College, with a few more. I must say that it was uplifting to see such an extravagant event put on by youth, and by youth I mean high school kids, that bring so many people to the Kootenay Boundary region. It is absolutely commendable. And I would also like to note that this is not a fly-by-night show. This event has been put on by the USCC's Union of Youth Council for 65 straight years. Another item that I would like to touch on is that I attended the Grand Forks Recreation Commission meeting this past Thursday. Of interest, Recreation Director John Mackey mentioned that he attended the annual Recreation Conference, and it was made clear at that conference that many municipalities did not receive recreation grant money like Grand Forks due to the fact that the grant was set out specifically for upgrades, retrofits, and renovations. And this is why we, Grand Forks, did not receive any grant money, as our application was for new projects. However, being that the City of Grand Forks did not receive any grant money, the Rec Commission still feels like the outdoor adult fitness equipment that was a part of the grant would be of great benefit to the residents of Grand Forks. And in so, a motion was made and carried to include this outdoor fitness equipment in next year's recreation budget. So the residents of Grand Forks still have that to look forward to. And the last thing, I've been approached by a few residents of Grand Forks, and it has to do with the Boundary Economic Development Advisory Committee. Am I correct there? They're just curious how they were asking me for minutes of the committee, as put forward by the procedures bylaw and the community charter, that all committees of council must have minutes taken and be available readily to members of the public as required. And so the question is, how do the residents, how do we at the council get our hands on these minutes as we're 6 months deep and we still have not received any minutes?
Councillor Kendall and Smith, if you would like to answer that. We don't normally get into dialogue in the reports, but...
Well, the minutes will be made available to council for sure. And the last ones just have to be approved yet.
Okay. The question is just when?
Before next council meeting.
Perfect. Okay, excellent. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Smith, do you want to do the...
Sure. I'll just keep it brief. May 12th, attended a couple of things. There was the ATV club up at the Wildlife Hall. They had their little soiree up there with a raffle and a bunch of ATV enthusiasts all up out there. And actually the police attended, but in a good way. They were there to let people know about the Motor Vehicle Act and how it relates to licensing and all that stuff that may be coming down the pike. And then later on, or was it earlier? Anyway, we went to the Elks Hall, or not the Elks Hall, the Slavonic Hall, to join them in their celebration. On the 17th, myself, Bob, and Councillor Wires, amongst others, attended the airport for a meeting on how to enhance the airport and raise the profile and what other good ideas we can come up with to get better use out of it. And then I was also in a meeting with a couple members of the Phoenix Foundation, as it is their 15th anniversary this year. I added myself to the committee to organize a celebration in November, so I'm going to have that to look forward to. On the 22nd, I attended the Grand Forks Economic Development Advisory Committee, and minutes will be coming out of that shortly. And then on 24th, myself and Councillor Kendall met with Simone from Toda in Kelowna to discuss branding and other communities and what assistance that Toda is able to provide us. That's my report.
Sarah Winton is taking your minutes, right? So you're
Yes.
kind of dependent on her to get them back for
Yep.
approval. Councillor Kendall.
Basically, my report is a mirror image of Councillor Smith's. We attended basically all of the same functions. Just a quick update at the Economic Development Committee meeting. We had a very, very productive meeting. A lot of positive things were discussed there, including the airport, branding, the need that we feel that we need the business community's involvement in some way to carry this thing forward, and a process that we may entertain to get that more in the forefront. And I think that overall it was a really productive meeting. The Elks open house was wonderful, and I'd like to commend them on their community involvement. I think they do great work. One thing, Councillor Smith, for your benefit, Your Worship, the RCMP, we did address the electric scooter issue. And the discussion there was that an electric scooter, as long as the pedals are on board, they don't have to be attached to the scooter, they just need to be on the scooter itself. They can be apparently stowed. But if the pedals are there and you have a helmet and you're riding on the road, you don't need a license and you can basically go anywhere you want. Just have to obey the rules of the road.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there are some problems with that.
And again, I attended a meeting with Councillor Smith and Councillor Wires regarding some initiatives with the airport, and I think it's really encouraging that the club is organizing a fly-in. I think that'll be the first in a long time here. So,
Yeah.
and I think they're trying to do that in conjunction with a car show as well. So that's in my report.
Thank you. I have a couple things. I'll talk a bit about the mayor's meeting for a second, but the Elks are kind of adopting the Slavonic Hall and are looking for some support in future to move forward with upgrading that building. So my understanding of that meeting there that day was that they basically are also showing their support for using that facility and working with the Slavonic Hall board. They've got new windows in it and done a lot of work to fix it up. So it's nice, I think, that a service club has a home like that they can really begin to develop around. Thanks to the city of Grand Forks for shipping the water to get it bottled for Greenwood, and they did give us credit in the public meeting. But again, I think it's credit to our staff that they worked out a deal, and we did get paid for it. But we basically cooperated with Greenwood to get that water bottled for them. So
I didn't see the case in the back there.
No, but you know, goodness floats every boat. So. The airport issue. I brought the airport up with Interior Health, and as I've mentioned to some, they were not aware that the city of Grand Forks covers 100% of the cost of the airport, and certainly we're concerned that we in the city keep it operational, because for them The helicopter is exciting. It can move people at certain times very effectively from point A to B. But in a lot of situations, the only way to get someone out of this area is fixed wing. And so they certainly were stressing the fact that Grand Forks needs to keep that responsible attitude towards the airport. But we're surprised to hear it was just us paying for it. The mayor's meeting. And everyone went to the mayor's meeting. There were 81 mayors there out of 160. Everyone went with the same question about what are we really here for? So the first couple hours of discussions were rather scattered, but basically what it came down to was that we were really committed as mayors, and I was impressed with them as a group, to find better ways of doing things that cost less money and deliver the same service. And a lot of really interesting ideas came out where we could cut bureaucracy and red tape within government and get the same results for less money. So when there were some comments from government ministers about the mayor's meeting, there was a sense of insult that we would be considered to be looking for new ways of spending when we were really looking for new ways of saving. A few things that came out that were really startling was the cost of the grant programs that we all participate in, and the fact that on one level government is saying you should be making 5-year financial plans. On the other hand, they're saying go out and spend a whole bunch of money on shovel-ready projects because you're going to have to compete with your neighbor in the region and the neighboring city. So they set us up against each other with these grant programs, and they're not conducive to long-term planning. So it just makes sense that we as a group should begin to ask government not to play the grant game, but to sit down and plan with municipalities. That would be a far fairer way of doing it, although there would still be a certain level of subjectivity applied by the government. It would eliminate a lot of the hidden costs of the grants that we end up applying for or getting ready for and don't get paid for. That concludes my report, and I would ask for a motion to accept council reports. Councillor Smith, Councillor Wires, all those in favor. The regional district report tonight, I think I'll leave that to questions on the regional district. We have a meeting tomorrow night in Trail, and you have in your package the minutes from March. And I apologize again, we are behind in these, but the regional district doesn't like to send out unapproved minutes because of certain things that have happened with misunderstandings. And so I would entertain any questions on the regional district level.
Is that an open meeting in Trail?
Yes, it is. Just while you're thinking, the BEDC meeting will be meeting on the 5th of June, and the beginning of the meeting will be in camera because we're dealing with, again, discussions on a regional community forest, and I'm within bounds letting you know that that's the topic of discussion, but some of the people that are conferring with us on this matter may not want the general public to hear what they have to say this early, but I'm telling you that it's further movement towards trying to do something on a bigger regional level that we're talking about at that meeting. That meeting will be open to the public then after 10:30. Nothing on the regional district that I can answer. We are dealing with the diversion program today, and I can tell you that the regional district is waiting with anticipation for a decision by the council. Councillor Smith?
Your Worship, it's just with respect to your conversation with IHA and the support for, what kind of support might we anticipate from the region or
It's unusual within various areas of the province for there not to be regional participation in the cost of airports that are regional airports, and this is certainly considered a regional resource. So, yeah, I think we're...
So there's an opportunity to move forward here?
I think it's certainly our opportunity to press the issue with the RDKB. Okay, could I have a motion to accept the reports of the regional district? Councillor Smith, Councillor Washagan, all those in favor. Opposed, carried.